But we start this afternoon with the growing threat of serious floods in the Hill Country. It has been raining there for several days now, causing first responders to evacuate residents and pull dozens of people from the water. We now know at least one person has died. One of the cities being inundated is Kerrville, the same area where more than 130 people lost their lives last year. Kevin Reese covered those deadly floods, and he's been keeping an eye on what's happening now. Kevin, how does this compare to what happened last summer?
Well, what's happening in the Hill Country right now, this is a multi-day event. You alluded to that, and one that is bringing more rain than the horrific floods last year, but over a wider area. But so far, as you mentioned, only just that one fatality. Flooding is happening as far west as San Angelo, again down the Guadalupe River through Ingram and Comfort and Kerrville, and as far south as Bernie and Uvalde. And here is dramatic video just into our newsroom from Uvalde. If we have that, a rescue crew from the Department of Public Safety, you can see them there using a helicopter to lift a family and their pets out of a flooded home. That rescue in just the past 24 hours. And as you can tell, there are warning sirens in place this time along sections of the Guadalupe River. We're told this time the heaviest flows start at Ingram and Comfort and Kerrville, not farther upstream in Hunt. There are problems in Bernie, too. Vehicles, including cars and RVs, have been swept away again. But the most recent reports indicate no one was in those vehicles and RVs at the time. Rescues are still underway, and disaster declarations are in place in multiple counties.
And for the most part, Hunt this time has been spared the horrific flooding that it suffered last year.
I'm pretty worried. I loaded up all my personal belongings, valuables, and I'm getting out of here.
And we want to show you one more piece of video. There are some lighthearted, happy moments as well. Texas game wardens gave us this video rescuing a family, including a young boy who made sure he was rescued while wearing his life jacket, his mask, and his snorkel. Rescue personnel from all over Texas are in the area right now, including from Dallas and from Denton and others. But we do also understand that Governor Abbott is speaking right now, his latest update on the situation in the Texas Hill Country and other areas. Let's listen to him right now.
We continue to deploy more personnel than what we talked about yesterday. Now approximately 2,350 state emergency responders, including Texas Task Force teams with support from game wardens, troopers, and out-of-state resources, are deployed. We've also deployed more than 1,400 different types of vehicles, different pieces of equipment, including swiftwater rescue boats, ambulance strike teams, Black Hawk helicopters, and high-profile vehicles. We've deployed more than 85 boats and 21 aircraft, more than 200 high-profile vehicles. We've already made more than 230 rescues. As I mentioned before, I listed some areas that are under threat. I want to list a little bit more. Much of the recent rainfall was concentrated in Uvalde, Kinney, Bandera, Kerr, and Gillespie counties, where accumulated rainfall totals of 6 to 13 inches were already observed. In addition to the flash flooding that this produces, there is dangerous and catastrophic river flooding that's occurring in the Guadalupe, Nueces, Frio, Medina, Pecos, Rio Grande, and San Antonio River basins. So far, there have been 2 reported deaths because of the flooding. One is a male near Comfort who was swept away in an RV. Another is a female in Uvalde who was swept away while driving on a road. And as far as I know, those are the only deaths that have occurred because of this. Going back, we're facing record-shattering rainfall that leads to very dangerous flooding. We want to do everything we possibly can to protect our lives. We are deploying the assets and resources necessary to assist local communities. Our local officials are doing an incredible job of responding to this. Individuals are taking responsibility for their own lives and avoiding things like driving into rushing waters. For the next 24 hours or so, everybody in Texas can save their own life by refraining from driving into high waters. Knowing this also, sometimes you're driving down a road and you kind of see some water ahead, and you have no idea how deep that water is. As you approach it, you may be thinking, well, this is shallow water. Next thing you know, you're getting swept away. For the next 24 hours, if you see water on a roadway, know that it's a potential life-threatening hazard that should be avoided. Together, all of us Texans can be diligent over the next 24 hours to make sure we avoid rising water or heading into water on roadways. If we can do that, we'll make it through this episode with nobody else losing their life. I'd like to pass it to Chief Nimke with the Texas Division of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Governor. As the Governor mentioned, very dynamic and dangerous situation. We are not out of this scenario yet. Meteorologists from the National Weather Service tell us an additional 10 to 15 inches of rain is possible over already wet areas and new areas north and west of the Kerrville area. The way that this weather pattern is setting up is difficult for the models that the meteorologists use to tell us exactly where it's going to fall and exactly how much is going to fall. So we're taking a very dynamic approach to moving resources and assets to be ahead of need. Last night or yesterday when we were in here, we talked about where the threat would be last night. We moved assets and resources to be around that. We will be doing the same thing again tonight. We have a plan, and we need your help in getting that plan articulated back out to the public like you did very well yesterday. Thank you for that. I want to continue to do that again. Additionally, as the Governor mentioned, we know we have communities in the Uvalde area that are cut off right now. We have 500,000 cases of MREs and 1 million bottles of water that are here and will start being delivered to them either through a high-profile vehicle or through military aircraft, and the General may talk about that in a minute. But we are hearing the needs that the community has, and we are meeting those needs. I got up this morning and I drove to Kerrville. And I went and I looked at the water there. I drove down through Center Point, out through Comfort, worked my way up, came back here. I want to thank the local officials that are out there and the first responders that are putting their life on the line to save others. I want to thank the state assets and state resources that are there. And most importantly, I want to thank the community. There was not a lot of people out there driving around. Thank you for getting that message out. This is how we'll continue to save lives together. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, General Seltzer.
Governor. Good afternoon. The Texas Military Department remains decisively engaged with over 750 personnel, 100 vehicles, and our crews have deployed a highly agile task force of 10 aircraft consisting of 8 UH-60 Blackhawks and 2 heavy-lift Chinook helicopters. They're forward staged across San Antonio, Austin, Hondo, Uvalde, Fredericksburg, and Kerrville to ensure rapid response times across the affected area. What that looks like, it's not just our 10 aircraft, it's multiple, numerous interagency aircraft. And what they're doing is flying until they need to refuel. They're finding one of these airfields that's clear of the weather, and then they're getting back into the flood fight. All aircraft and crews have been actively...
We're just going to dip away from this news conference here on air, but if you'd like to continue to follow along, we are streaming it live on our app, WFAA+. So again, if you want to continue to hear what they have to say, you can follow along on our streaming app. I just want to summarize some of the big takeaways of what we just heard. They have now conducted 230 water rescues, and there are now 2 reported deaths, not one, as we thought just 5 to 10 minutes ago. One man near Comfort who was swept away in an RV, and a woman in Uvalde who was swept away while she was driving on the road. We also learned that some of the communities in Uvalde are still cut off right now. I want to bring in our senior meteorologist, Jesse Hawila, because Jesse, they also said something I thought was very important, that an additional 10 to 15 inches of rain are possible. And the way the models are setting up, it's making it somewhat difficult to know exactly where it's going to fall.
These are very tricky setups. Okay, you have what is a stalled out low down there in south and parts of central Texas, and it's spinning, and where are these bands set up can be very tricky, and it means a lot where they do. Some of the latest guidance, and we heard there, has maybe Kerrville and then moving west overnight. So some areas that haven't experienced the flooding yet may be under the gun later tonight. 10 to 15 inches are possible in some of those areas. Now, there's just a slight break, and I do mean slight. So instead of widespread heavy rain falling in parts of the hill country and parts of south and central Texas, we're getting a little bit of more scattered activity, but heavy rain will redevelop later this evening and overnight tonight, and flash flooding will continue. We have flash flood emergencies for parts of the hill country. We go farther to the south. You see these areas under flash flood warnings getting just a small break, but heavy rain already lifting north toward Uvalde yet again. Additional rain is expected, where just an incredible, tremendous amount of rain has fallen in these areas, where we've seen anywhere from a foot to 2 feet of rain over the last couple of days. Let me show you the timeline of this later this evening. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Watch the time here. So there's 11 p.m. There's Fredericksburg. There's Bernie. You go down to Uvalde right here. You see all this heavy rain? That's a little bit farther west than it has been, but some of those areas could pick up another foot of rain later tonight, Chris.
All right, thank you, Jesse. And if you'd like to help our neighbors down in the Texas Hill Country, the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country has started a fund to support folks during this new round of flooding. All you have to do is scan that QR code on the screen. Obviously, they appreciate any amount that you're able to give.